get kind of used to the new technology here. It is 9:04 a.m. on Wednesday, May 8th, 2013, and this meeting of the Camino Real Regional Authority Board is now in session. Ms. Rowe, any public comments?
No public comments.
Just a quick note for the board members, because it's just something new and different. I was talking to Mr. Solis, who's done a marvelous job with all the IT, and it's important that you turn your mic on when you speak, and when you're done, turn it off. There's just kind of a little different quirk from what we're used to. Otherwise, there's some feedback and some additional voiceover that'll happen as whoever has the mic is speaking. Item 3, adoption of the minutes for the Camino Real Regional Mobility Authority Board meeting of April 10th, 2013. Has everyone had an opportunity to review those, and is there a motion to approve?
Move to approve as presented.
Is there a second? All those in favor? All those opposed? Minutes are approved. I'm going to read item 4 and 5 into the record at the same time. Item 4, presentation and update by the Texas Department of Transportation on the Border Highway West Extension Project. And item 5, discussion and action on a board resolution authorizing the waiver of certain primacy rights for the Border Highway West Extension Project. Mr. Tejas.
Good morning. Raymond Tejas, Executive Director of the CRRMA. Today we have with us Mr. Eduardo Calvo, who's going to present a PowerPoint and also will have a video for us to provide us a background on the Border Highway West project. So with that, and then item number 5 will request some action from the board. So with that, Mr. Calvo, if we can have you come up, and if we could have IT bring up the PowerPoint, please.
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Tays. Board members, good morning. Eduardo Calvo with TxDOT here in El Paso. We're going to start with this short presentation. It's an update to the Loop 375 Border Highway West Extension Project. As you all know, we've been making a lot of progress on this, and in general terms, this project has been going through a very, very quick development process, and we want to continue that high speed on the next phases of the project. So with that, let me start with a little background. Border Highway West is what you see in that yellow oval, but it's one of the key pieces of Loop 375. As you all know, Loop 375, completing the loop around the city of El Paso, the metropolitan area, has been one of the priorities for this region for many years. But on top of that, the piece that is missing really would complete the relief route to I-10, has been coined the Southern Relief Route, that would provide a parallel route to I-10. And again, I-10 continues to be the backbone of our transportation system here in the metropolitan area of El Paso. So anything happens to I-10, anything major that creates a bottleneck, or worse, if there's a need to close I-10 for whatever reason, some major incident or something like that, it becomes a real issue. And it not only affects the metropolitan area, it affects the I-10 freight corridor as well that goes coast to coast. So again, this is one of the most important projects that this region has been contemplating for many years, and that's why we're so excited now to have the opportunity to finally put it in action. So the project itself is 9 miles long, but 7 miles of those 9 are new location, and that's really to connect the western part of downtown El Paso, where Loop 375 currently terminates on Santa Fe Street, and extend going towards north or west following the direction of I-10, and finally connecting just short of I-10 in the vicinity of Racetrack Drive, very close to the Sunland Park interchange of I-10. But the official limits of the project are really Racetrack Drive, which is just short of I-10, to US 54 south of the Spaghetti Bowl. The new location is intended to be a toll facility. It'll be a 4-lane toll facility, limited access, or like a freeway. And the project is being pursued also as a state-only project. In other words, we are not involving the federal government. We're not using any federal funding for the project. That has helped us also move a lot faster. And the estimated cost for the project, the construction by itself is in the ballpark of about 500 million. Total project cost in the order of 726, or maybe a little more once we start, getting more information about the later stages of the project. But it is the largest single project that this community, that this region has ever embarked on. We looked at 4 alternatives as the project was moving forward, and let me try this. Anyways, there are 4 alternatives that we were looking at as we were moving forward with the environmental document. Pretty much 2 alignments on the northern section that you see here on this map. One of those 2 alignments. Yeah. Okay, because it was giving me the arrows. Okay. Okay. Clear. There we go. Cool technology. Again, so on the northern piece, let me try this. You see 2 alignments, one that goes parallel to I-10 and the other one that goes pretty much over the existing US 85 Paisano. And then on the southern piece, you see pretty much the same alignment in the middle piece. And then you see a purple and blue lines that show 2 different alignments, one that goes very, very close to the border, hugging the river, and the other one going through the Chihuahuita neighborhood. Again, that option was very, very clear. Most of the stakeholders, almost everybody, supported the one going close to the river. It presents a lot of construction challenges, but we avoided major impacts to the Chihuahuita community. So basically what we did, we selected what we call Alternative 2, which is what you see in this map, starting on the top with Racetrack Drive over on this side, and then going towards downtown. You see that we follow an alignment that goes through the Cemex property, and then we get close to I-10. We're actually building most of this inside of existing I-10 right-of-way, so we don't need to acquire any additional right-of-way in that strip. And then we move forward towards in the vicinity of UTEP and Schuster Avenue. This area is very challenging for us. It's there's very little space in there, and we're fitting Border Highway West along with I-10. We've got 2 Class 1 railroads in the same area, so it is very challenging in terms of physical space. And then finally, we continue in this direction, going very close to the river, and then connecting at that point, connecting to the existing Loop 375. And so that's where the new location and where the toll component of the project would end. As we connect to the existing Loop 375 lanes, there's some work that I will show you later in terms of limiting some access that exists today to some of the north-south streets, Kansas, Campbell, Mesa, and Oregon. But that's necessary to maintain the limited access nature of the project. And then in this area, we'll see also the Coles interchange, which is a new connection that doesn't exist today. And we'll talk about that in the next slide. One of the key, if not impacts, but one of the comments that we received as we were going through the public involvement process of this project was really how to provide access to downtown. Again, thought was that this project was really going to be a parallel route to I-10, but we got some feedback from the city of El Paso, especially some formal comments, where they said, if you eliminate that access that we currently have to the north-south streets, you're going to be bypassing downtown. So we went back to the drawing board and came back with this. Well, we looked at a plan on how the Border Highway West would enhance access to downtown. I mean, there's so many really good things happening here in downtown. So what you see on this map, this is the border highway. So what we're planning, or the sort of like a little more at the macro level, we are providing access to downtown through Paisano. Paisano is this right there, that's US 85. So we're going to be providing access to Paisano in this area and in this area. So now Paisano becomes really the main arterial to connect or to provide access to downtown. So if you're coming in from the west side of El Paso on the border highway, you would be coming this way. You would exit here at the Spur 1966, which is another project that we're starting already in the construction and that the RMA team designed for us. So you would turn there at the Spur, and then you would go into Paisano. And again, if your destination is north of Paisano, you go that way, or if you go south, that's where your destination is. And then on the other side, this new Coles interchange, again, is a connection that doesn't exist today. It's in the vicinity of Bowie High School, where Paisano and Loop 375 physically are very close to each other, but there's no connection. There's a UP track that is sort of like a barrier, and so on. So again, now that we have this new connection, again, you'll be able to come in from the east side of El Paso on the loop through this new interchange, enter Paisano, and again, you can go to the south part or the north part, depending on what your destination is. And then at the same time, we also got some requests from the Central Business Association and the Downtown Management District to continue providing some access to the north-south streets from Loop 375. So the plan that we looked at many different combinations, but the plan that we all agreed on to pursue is really to provide what we call a right-in, right-out at Oregon, which if you're coming in this direction, you'll be able to go that way, and then move out of downtown in this direction. So it's only a right-in, right-out. And in addition to that, maintain a right-in at Oregon Street. So you'll be able to enter downtown in that direction. So again, it was a nice compromise, and everybody, well, not absolutely everybody, but I think most of the stakeholders were happy with this.
The west side, you can't get into Oregon?
No.
Or how about Campbell or the...
No, you cannot. The left turns are what is becoming really problematic here. But if you're coming from the west side, again, you can, obviously, if you're on I-10 and there's no congestion on I-10, you would probably take I-10 and maintain the same access that we have right now. But if you're coming again from the border highway, you would exit here at the Spur and get on Paisano and go into I-10. I'm sorry, go into downtown.
Right. Now, initially, it's probably going to be some confusion. So let's say I'm coming east into downtown, and I miss both the Coles interchange and the Oregon in and out. If I go over to Spur, can I turn around and come back?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Let me show you. This is just a very conceptual diagram. What you're saying, if you're coming from the east side of El Paso on the loop and you miss the Coles interchange, and you miss the entrance at Campbell, and you miss the entrance at Oregon, you have the ability to come on the new location, but you will be able to exit at the Spur, make a U-turn, and you wouldn't be charged a toll. So hopefully, I'm sure that it's going to happen initially, but at least you have the opportunity. Not ideal, but it's an opportunity. Again, on this slide, I wanted to highlight that we have that U-turn. As part of the process, it was coined the OOPS U-turn. I guess we better find a better name for that. And this is a rendering of the Cole Street interchange, again, to give you an idea of how it's going to look like. So we've got ramps connecting on the two directions of Loop 375 to and from Paisano. So again, if you're coming from the east side of El Paso, you would be able to exit on this ramp and get on Paisano. and in the opposite direction, you'd be able to do the same thing. And then also, if you're coming from the west side, you would be able to exit Loop 375 and come in this direction and connecting to Paisano, or come the other way and get on Paisano on the westbound direction. So again, this is a full directional interchange that doesn't exist today, but we felt that it was a very important piece of the puzzle for connectivity to downtown. Yes, sir.
Okay. Can you go back to the slide?
Sure.
If you're eastbound on the border highway and you take the Coles exit onto Paisano heading west, do you have a way to get back to Paisano heading east?
In other words, if you come in this
No,
direction,
I'm sorry, sir. You're coming in from the east side on the Loop 375, and then you take the ramp over Coles and you get on Paisano. Instead of getting on Paisano heading west, can you make a right turn and head back to Paisano instead of heading east?
yeah, there is no way to accommodate that direct movement. In other words, what you say is do something like that.
Correct.
No, it's very tight to do that. So you would, if you want to go east on Paisano, you would have to take this ramp and then make a U-turn. I think we presented in the past some of the elements of design that we've developed for this project. We went through a very expensive context-sensitive solution process where we came up with some ideas, some concepts for aesthetics on how this project could look like. And we had a lot of meetings with different stakeholders, City of El Paso. I believe Mr. Deyes also attended and was invited to be in some of the committees. So we got a lot of input, and actually we have a very solid concept for aesthetics. And it is very important for this type of project where we're going to go design build, where it really goes really fast. So it helps to have some concepts or ideas on how this is going to look like. This process was vetted through the stakeholders, through 2 committees, so we feel pretty good. In other words, in terms of aesthetics that are so important now for our transportation projects, we're not starting from scratch. So we have some pretty good concepts that will be moved forward to the design and construction. Again, this is a typical structure. Most of our project, 90% actually of the new location, is going to be built on structures. Because again, the restrictions that we have, the limitations, we're jumping over the railroad tracks 9 different times. The terrain, once we get closer to the west side, the differentials in elevations are pretty substantial. So most of the project really is going to be on structures, on bridges. So this shows you pretty much a typical layout of a column, where we would have a single column and then opening up sort of like in a T. And again, these are the aesthetics elements that could be used. Thank you. Next steps. So we are moving forward to the next phase after completing a very important phase, which is completing the schematic and environmental document for the project. Again, it's a first environmental impact statement that this region has done for a transportation project, an EIS. It's a state EIS. And the document was approved by the Environmental Affairs Division of TxDOT last week. So right now it's going through the final 30-day public comment period. It was posted in the Texas Register last Friday, so we've got to wait 30 days to see if there's any additional comments that we need to address. And hopefully, once we do that, the record of decision will be issued. And again, the ROD is the final approval for as far as environmental is concerned. So that'll happen hopefully very early in June. At the same time, in the May Texas Transportation Commission meeting that happens at the end of this month, we're asking the commission to give us the approval or the green light to move forward with the procurement phase of the project. So we would be asking the commission to allow us to issue a request for qualifications, an RFQ. And the current plan is to ask or include in the RFQ for services that include design, build, finance, operation of the facility as well. Very likely it will also include a maintenance component where we would be asking the team to actually commit to maintaining the facility for a certain number of years. Could be, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. That hasn't been determined yet. So once we get the green light from the commission, we would issue a draft RFQ, requesting qualifications from interested teams. The next step would be, once we receive those, we would shortlist a number of teams. And then sometime in the fall, TxDOT would be issuing a final request for proposal. That is a much more formal document where on one side, we provide the teams, the interested teams, with a set of givens, technical provisions, funding requirements, et cetera. All of those details obviously need to be worked out before we issue that RFP. And then finally, the intent is to award the contract sometime in spring of 2014. Let me say that this is a very, very aggressive, accelerated schedule, like anything else having to do with this project. So, that is asking us to do a lot of things, fast. And, so far we've been very successful in making sure that the project moves forward. And, but again, moving to the procurement phase for design, build, finance, operation, and maintenance is a totally different phase, very complicated. We've got a lot of help also from the Strategic Project Division in Austin. So there's new phases in the environment that you'll see around. So that's pretty much it. Again, my contact information is there. Raymond, if you want to keep this presentation, I apologize for not sending it earlier, but there's my contact information. Let me say something also about the RFQ. An email was sent out, we call it a blast email, was sent out to the industry at the end of April, announcing the intent that TxDOT has on pursuing this project. So that blast email went to contractors, designers, whoever could be interested on this. So, even though the process has not officially started, because it really starts with the commission giving us the authority to do this, but it's out there. So with that, I have a video of the Border Highway West. It's about a 4-minute video if you would like to see it, or you want to have any questions. This is a video that was initially presented at the public hearing back in November. And let me see if I can do the play-by-play here. This is where the project starts. This is McNutt, New Mexico 273, that maintains connection to the Anapa and San La Park communities. And so you will be able to come in from New Mexico 273 if you're coming in this direction and connect to the existing Paisano. Also, we're providing a direct connection from Donovan, because today you cannot access Donovan to Paisano directly. So you will be able now to go in this direction and go under the Paisano, and then be able to connect to the border highway. So this is also a major improvement. So we continue now towards downtown. Right now we're almost on top of US 85 Paisano. And at this point, we're beginning to veer towards...
Excuse me, Mr. Calvo, can you
Yes,
come
sir.
back as from Anapara entering Paisano at grade level? Because right now, it's terribly hard to enter. You've got to strain your neck to look in back of you,
Hold on.
or pray and just keep on going. Did we resolve that problem?
Yes. On 273, what you will see here is that today you go over the Crushane Bridge and you have access to Paisano in this direction. What we're doing now is that we're improving that connection, and the only way that we're able to fit this is to go in this direction. You'll be going under Paisano and then entering Paisano on the left side. So it's not very usual to have entrance ramps on the left side, but of course it fits all of the compliance with all the specifications and all that. But it is a much better and a much safer entrance to Paisano than what we have today.
And where will the toll start?
Somewhere in this area. I'm not really sure on the exact location of the gantries, but if you're coming in, for example, from Donovan in this direction, you will be able to, if you don't want to continue on the Border Highway West and pay a toll, you'll be able to exit here at the existing, I don't know if you remember where there's a signal on Paisano to access the Cemex property. Mm-hmm. So that's in that area you would be able to get off the Border Highway without paying a toll and get on Paisano if you don't want to continue on Border Highway West. So again, we're moving towards parallel to the river. And at this point, we begin going towards the east, towards I-10. And again, this is the... Well, I mean, the video will show that you are pretty much traveling on structures throughout. The terrain here, the differences in elevations are very substantial.
I'm assuming that you missed the Public Service Board facilities
Yes.
and the Calavera stuff and all that. Thank you.
Okay. At this point, we're approaching the Executive Center Boulevard. So there will be an interchange at Executive Center where you'll be able to get off and on the Border Highway West. And we continue here very close to I-10. At this point, we're pretty much on I-10 right away. We just need a little sliver of a property from Asarco at the point. So we're running here parallel to I-10. You can see I-10 to the left. And on this video, we tried really hard to make the vehicles on Border Highway West go faster than I-10. So I don't know if you can see that.
Will the speed limits be the same as I-10?
Probably. And at this point, we are approaching the pinch point. It's really tight. Here you see railroads here. That's the UP Union Pacific. You have the BNSF line on this side as well. So, and as you can see, everything is converging to this area. So this is one of the more challenging areas of the project. Being very close to the border, we've also been coordinating with the Border Patrol, and it's been very interesting coordinating with them, to understand their concerns and issues. But so far, it's been great. At this point, we're approaching the Spur 1966, which again, it's a new project that we're building that provides a new connection to Paisano, which Paisano is running here. So it's a new connection to the future Border Highway West, goes over I-10, and then it connects to Schuster Avenue in the UTEP campus. So this is, again, a very important connection, new connection that doesn't exist today. And as we were saying earlier, in order to, if you're on the border Highway West and you want to go to downtown, you would be able to exit on this ramp and then go on the spur and then, connect and to Paisano and go to downtown. What you see here, this is Paisano going underneath. And at this point, we are, again, getting very close to the border and actually overhanging the highway over the floodplain. Also very interesting coordination with the International Border and Water Commission, IBWC, in terms of making sure that we're not affecting the floodplain. And again, we're running very close to the BNSF rail tracks that we already passed. And this area, we're getting close now to the Chihuahuita neighborhood. And once again, we need to cross over the BNSF railroad track that goes into Mexico, which is this track. So at this point, we're elevated, and we've got to clear this track, and you'll see that we've got a pretty steep drop to be able to get under the Paso del Norte bridge. So again, we go elevated, and then we come down so that we can match with the existing Loop 375 lanes. So at this point, we're at grade. The toll actually ends at the bridge in that location. Sure.
How do the container cargo come in and get out? Are there cargo there that is being accessed by UP?
I'm sorry.
On the railroad facilities between the two downtown bridges, is there trucks that come in and pick up cargo and deliver cargo?
No. There's, the access to the tracks are not from Loop 375. They come in from other areas.
Thank you.
And also on this side, you will also see the UP. Here it is. I'm sorry. This is the Union Pacific International Yard. That, again, we are very tight between the railroad right-of-way and all of the properties here on this side that private property that's part of the city of El Paso. So again, there's really no opportunity here to widen Loop 375. So we're matching to the existing lanes.
Before you go off, I was speaking with a guy named George Karahai, and I'm mispronouncing his name, but he's a partner in American Brick company, and he was telling me that he was not aware that he could have access onto Paisano. Have you communicated with him? Because he wants to have access to Paisano. Right now, he's got a bridge, and it's load limited. And so I told him that they're, get a hold of you, and that you were going to make a presentation at some point to the...
Right. I need to see exactly, I can't picture it, but in general, we're not making any changes to Paisano except in the vicinity of a racetrack.
Okay.
So once we move away from Paisano, as we start moving towards the east, towards downtown, the existing Paisano will not be modified.
So if he has access right now, he'll continue to have access to Paisano?
Yes, although I need to see the exact location of that property to make sure that we're not affecting that access.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, once again, we're under now the Stanton Bridge. And again, you see here that we're moving on a limited access facility. It's a freeway, so we eliminate the traffic signal that currently exists at Kansas. And now we are moving towards Park Street. As you see, this is Park Street, so we're proposing like a cul-de-sac here. But again, there will be no more connections from Park to the loop. And one of the reasons also, you see here that The right turn that is available today, it's not a very safe turn as well because you're so close to that curve. So again, this, we felt it was appropriate also to eliminate this access because of the potential of incidents there.
But isn't it true that TxDOT really wanted to have access there to get to Bowie Bakery?
That's why we built the Coles interchange. Okay, so here now we're turning and we're approaching the Coles interchange. Here you will see first the ramps. Okay, this is the ramp that exits the main lanes of the loop, and you'll see here that you will be going underneath and accessing, going towards Paisano. And then next you will see the other set of ramps pointing to the east that will allow you to get on the loop on the eastbound direction and the opposite if you're coming from the east to get off and access Paisano. So we're approaching here the end of the construction project, even though the limit, the official limit is US 54, which is another mile and a half or so to the east. But this is really where the construction ends. The field you see there is Bowie High School. So just to give, if you can orient yourselves on where we are now. Mm-hmm. So now we're turning around and we'll give you another view of the Coles interchange. And that's pretty much it.
Mr. Calvo, how long to construct? If the project's let spring of 2014, is this a 2-year project? Do you have an idea of kind of what the anticipated timeline would be?
Well, we're hoping that the project gets done, as quickly as possible, but it all depends really on the proposals that we get. Realistically, 2 years is probably aggressive. 24 months, anywhere 24, 30 months. Of course, the sooner the better. But again, in the design build world, it's a little more difficult to, understand the duration. There's many other factors playing in. But I mean, it is a very challenging project. I mean, a lot of structures, as you saw, complicated in the sense that we're squeezing the highway in very tight areas. That also presents a problem, or not a problem, but a challenge in staging all of your construction. Where are you going to put all your equipment, all your beams and all that? So it's going to be extremely interesting from the constructability perspective.
Any questions for Mr. Calvo?
I have a couple of, thank you. I'm trying to understand, as I read the resolution, why the RMA is not partnering with TxDOT, but in fact not following the models that we've had in the past where the RMA is involved in the toll road projects, and now in this project we are not. Mm. And I know you have a very tight and very fast time frame, but I'm concerned about that. Our role has been to partner with TxDOT, and in this one we are not partnering with TxDOT. Can you tell me why there's been this change?
It has to do with the with the complexity of the project in the sense that it is a very expensive project, so the funding portion is very important. That is also tied to the fact that it's a toll facility, so the toll collection as a combination or as an element of the funding to get the project built plays in.
But I would tell you that's why the RMA ought to be involved in it, because of the toll element in this project.
Correct. But again, in this case, because of the toll component, well, the administration is also leaning towards making this a full package for the developers. In other words, that includes operations, maintenance, and all that. So it is very important for us to have the full flexibility to or offer that flexibility to the design builders.
And is that not possible with working with the RMA? I mean, have we not had that in the past?
I
that
think it
flexibility
would
in the
limit
past?
the options that we could have in terms of what the interested teams could offer. Now,
Again, I'm trying to press the point a little bit, but was that a different case with the Americas? I mean, did we have that issue with the Americas, which also had a toll element?
it was
in
different
it?
in the sense that it was a much smaller project dollar-wise, even though the Americas Interchange was a very important project for us. It was not a toll project, and there was some local, well, not local, but some federal and state money identified for this. And again, and please, Chair, jump in if my understanding is different. But the information that we have now is that this project will be pretty much funded all by the developer team. In the conversations that we had with the administration, again, all of this is going to be formalized at the commission meeting, but the administration feels that we need to have that full flexibility to get the better proposals. Again, there's going to be the possibility of asking in our proposal, in our RFP, of asking the developers to also include some maintenance, 5-year, 10-year, 15-year contracts on that. So again, we're looking long-term. The ability to have the tolling component here would likely play into the equation. So the administration feels that we need to have that full flexibility so that we get the better proposals for the project from developers. Now, at the same time, even though as part of the process, we're asking the RMA to relinquish primacy on the whole thing, but my understanding is that doesn't preclude for the RMA to have a role in the future. And again, if that was my understanding from the conversations as well.
That's what I understood as well, Mr. Colville. And Susan, I think what TxDOT's looking for here is flexibility. They're going to roll this out as an entire package to a developer, design, including the finance, the construction, the operations, and the maintenance. Part of the issue is because we're at 90% structures, the maintenance on this is expensive. So TxDOT is rolling this all in, and they feel by having it as one complete package, they're going to get the very best opportunities and very best pricing from a developer, and that's why they're asking us to relinquish primacy on this project to them. But to Mr. Colville's point, there are some opportunities potentially down the road as this toll facility is up and running for the RMA, should it be something that we'd like to be engaged in and with this particular project.
So is this a model for the future?
I don't think so. I think this is a very, very, very unique project.
Because this is very different how we have operated in the past, and that's why when I read the information concerned me, because it has not been what we have followed in the past.
Right, and I think the opportunity would lie to, following more the Spur 601 model more than the Americas model.
Right, I'm sorry, I meant really disperse.
And again, the RMA certainly has some advantages in the debt market, some advantages over private entities acquiring debt. So I think that there is still some good opportunities in that area. But at this point, the administration really feels like the chair mentioned that, they feel that we really need to have full flexibility to ask the developers to give us a proposal on everything, including funding, operations, maintenance.
I'm not sure I did, but I think it's just, I think we just need to note it, that it is different than what we've done in the past. And, I do have concern that this isn't going to be the model going forward, because it's really the purpose of the RMA and to partner with TxDOT. And so I'm concerned, so I'll just note that I have concerns
Right.
about this.
And again, like we've been saying this project is extremely complicated. If it was easy, I think this region would have implemented this project years ago. And so it's not our typical project. I mean, there's still other opportunities, obviously, as the RMA is developing the extension of the managed lanes for the America segment of Loop 375. We're continuing to work on that. And we've had some conversations also on the Northeast Parkway, which are more, traditional, well, I shouldn't say traditional, but not as unusual projects as this Border Highway West project.
Mr. Calvo, would it be fair to assume that this is the exception to the rule? This is not going to be the procedure going forward, which is to leave the RMA behind. And then two, I guess, for expediency, in order to reach the timelines you need to do, you're putting this package together. But there is a possibility down the road that the RMA could get involved in some of this. We're not necessarily just blocked out completely at this point in time, right?
Exactly right. I don't see why not. Again, on the funding side, I do believe that there are some advantages there that could be, that you all can take the opportunity there.
I don't mean to sound this bad or make it sound negative, but does the Texas administration feel that at this point the RMA is not in the position to participate because we lack experience? I'm hearing expediency, and that's why Texas wants to take go in this direction.
A lot has to do with the fact that we're moving very, very fast. Again, going to the commission in May, and again, the administration has expressed the need to move very fast because of the funding opportunity for this project needs to be finalized in the next couple of months. So again, in order to have the full flexibility, the administration feels that we need to have the ability to offer the complete package as part of the request for proposals.
A couple of items. Ralph and I met with some of the TxDOT personnel, kind of reiterating what Mr. Calvo mentioned. We do have primacy on any toll projects, so we are automatically going to be included on anything else down the road. I am comfortable with the need to waive primacy on this particular project. As for how TxDOT wants to package this project out, at the end of the day, it's $500 million in construction and another $200 million, so $726 million coming into this region for a really expedited schedule, which is going to be monumental. This project has been called the Keystone Project in the past just because it was the key, the one that was able to connect the loop and give us that connectivity and having an outlet off of I-10. So this is the critical piece. It's also important that there's a short window to get this done. And that's why we're asking for, or why TxDOT's asking for primacy on this particular project, because they don't have a lot of time and able to get this funded, get this set, and get this moving forward. So, and at the end of the day, it'll tie in with Cesar Chavez. It ties in with what we're doing at Americas, and potentially there's some additional inside lanes going from Racetrack to Trans Mountain and maybe even to the state line, which will really enhance mobility in this entire region, both for our citizens in this community as well as any pass-through traffic that is coming through here and making decisions on, do I want to spend time in congestion and and be on a free lane, or do I have an appointment? Do I've got something that I need to expedite and I'm willing to pay that 10 cents, 15 cents a mile, whatever that particular toll rate is. At the end of the day, it's about opportunities, it's about choices for the community, and it's really a rather amazing project.
I support the project, and as you heard me say before, is that the more alternatives we can give to I-10, far the better. I guess it's just a point that is being presented to this board that we're not efficient enough to move along at a fast pace. And I don't know what happened, why we are at this point, if it's something that we did or the consultants did. That's the point that I'm taking. I'm for the project, and but it's been told that we are not moving fast enough. We don't have that ability. When you say you can do it faster, that means the opposite, we can't do it at your pace. And if that's the case, what can we do in the future to not get into the situation?
I wouldn't characterize it like that, Mr. Dominguez. I think it's just a matter of the size of the project and the short window that we have to get this, funded and to move forward. I don't think it says anything about, positive or negative about the RMA. It's just the opportunity that the window that we have right now that is very, very tight.
Yeah, Mr. Dominguez, I had the same concerns that you and Susan expressed as to why, since the RMA was designed specifically for projects like this, local toll projects, why we weren't involved. But if you look at the complexity, and they've got so many moving parts, that I could understand what TxDOT explained, that one, there's a short window for us to capture that $800 million, give or take. If we delay this, that money could go back to someone else, like we did when we did the Cesar Chavez, remember, back a while back when we lost those funds? That's one. Two, it is such a complex project, I don't know if it's even viable, if the tolls are going to pay for themselves. So I don't know if we would want to undertake that kind of liability. Market valuation has not been done at this point, is that correct? You more or less have a quasi estimation?
Well, we've got what we call sketch level traffic and revenue studies.
So there's a lot of components that I don't think it would be incumbent upon the RMA to take on the project as a whole, but I think at the same time, TxDOT needs the flexibility to offer the developer, whoever that's going to be, say, look, as part of the funding mechanism for this, the toll revenue will be used to offset that expense, because I think it's at $800 million, but they're going to leverage $300 million to get the 8. So there is some of those issues, and we're not in a position to be able to evaluate that at this point. Traditionally, regrettably, in my opinion, we've always had to work hand in hand with TxDOT, and when they've been able to say, we'll pay for this project, and then, as in Cesar Chavez, you maintain it via the toll revenue, more or less. But in this case, we don't know that. So I'm not happy about it, to be honest with you, but I can't see myself saying I'm going to be in the way of the community capturing $800 million project that has long been needed and desired by the community. So in this case, I'm going to roll over and say, let's be a good team player and go along and give TxDOT what they want, and give them the benefit of the doubt that this will be the exception, and that somewhere along the line, if it's possible for the RMA to play, we will be given the opportunity to play. Is that correct?
Thank you.
And those are the points I wanted to make. It isn't that I'm going to be obstructing. I like this project. It's just that, how did we get here, and let's not get here again in the future. Thank you.
I don't think it's any way a reflection on the RMA or the job that we've done as a board or the staff. I can tell you that Americas was finished ahead of schedule, under budget. Spur, we performed magnificently on as well. So whether it be total project development like we did at Americas, whether it be financing that we've done over at Spur 601, whether it be just assisting with the design such we did at Spur 1966, the RMA has always performed, I believe, brilliantly for TxDOT, and I believe TxDOT appreciates the partnership we have with them, and that's what I've heard consistently in all my conversations with them. So in no way is this any sort of reflection in regards to the work that we do hand in hand with TxDOT, with the City of El Paso, with the MPO, with all the community partners.
Well, I would just add, I think this is a very important project for the mobility of our region. I'm concerned about the process and about how, and that partnership, because I think it's been a good partnership in the past, and that in the future, I hope that will continue in other projects.
And we are. And we've got, like the chair mentioned, we've got other projects that are in the MPO's long-range plan that are part also of the comprehensive mobility plan that need to move forward as well.
I would just like to add that, here's the most important, or one of the most important mobility projects, and we're not going to be involved. We might be involved. It's not certain at what point, if at all. And how is that going to be perceived, especially not only an infrastructure project, but a tolling project? So I just want to put that on the table. I'm obviously going to vote for it. I'm for it. But I share the concerns, and I just want to add that additional concern, how it's going to be perceived once it's up and running. that the RMA may or may not have been involved.
Well, I'll add to that, is that now you possibly could have two tolling entities in the region, which to me does not make sense at all. So, because, tolling is new to this region, and now, to add an additional tolling authority, I don't think that makes sense at all. So I think that also, just want to add that for the record.
Yeah, and regarding that, although I agree that tolling is new for highways, I mean, of course, we have the international bridges that are tolled, but for highways, it is new. However, even though we potentially could have two different systems, all systems are interoperable. So you have the same situation in Dallas and Houston where you have, TxDOT or the TxTag, which is a TxDOT system. You have the NTTA system. In Houston, you have the HECTRA system, which is operated by Harris County. So all systems are interoperable. Yeah, there could be maybe some confusion at first, or maybe some marketing challenges, but I don't think it's insurmountable. I don't think it would be very complicated. But again, it's all a matter of how the tolling system is played out, including the back office, and it's not just a tag, but the whole operation. And there could be some opportunities there to combine out there. It's all, that's part of the flexibility that we would like to have. If it makes sense, that somebody will find out.
Mr. Calvo, thank you very much. At the end of the day, it's the biggest project that this region has ever seen. It's going to have a huge impact on mobility, and it's also going to be a great assistance during the construction of this project to the local contractors, the local subs, the various contractors in this region that are working on that. A lot of those dollars are going to stay here, and it's a tremendous opportunity just during the design, during the construction, and then eventually when it's opened, it's going to really change the face of how we move traffic in and out of this area. Mr. Tejas, I'm going to ask you for some help on this particular resolution. So we need action authorizing the waiver of certain primacy rights is how it reads, or are we waiving all primacy rights?
According to state statute, there are 4 rights included within what's termed primacy. They include the right to develop, to finance, to construct, and to operate. TxDOT has asked that the Camino Real RMA waive all 4 rights. So the posting on the agenda was written with flexibility in case something changed between posting and today. Of course, nothing has changed, so you'll see in your back of the resolution that actually waives all 4 rights. So what's being requested is approval of the board resolution, which waives all 4 rights.
Is there a motion authorizing the waiver of primacy rights for the Border Highway West Extension Project?
I would make a motion to do so, and which is just a comment, if I may. I think we're all in agreement that we're not happy the way this was handled, and we're not happy that the RMA was left out. But we're going to rely on TxDOT to make sure that this is the exception and not the rule. And 2, that somewhere along the line, if we're allowed to participate, we will participate. But that for the sake of what we're here for, which is the community and mobility projects, I'm going to go ahead and move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second?
All those in favor, aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item 6. Mr. Calvo, thank you again for all your time and the great presentation. Item 6, discussion and action on the Executive Director's Report A, the proposed bike share program, which is, I think, a tremendous program, and B, the quarterly reports on the Zaragoza Direct Connector and Trans Mountain Northeast projects. Mr. Tejas?
So I'll be very brief on these 2 items. Item 6A then deals with the bike share program. So I thought it was timely to provide you all with an update on this. The Metropolitan Planning Organization has identified $2 million of funding that could be, that in fact has been allocated for a potential bike share program. The various stakeholders, and you have in your backup kind of a memo outlining all of these details, so I won't go into great detail, but the idea is this, is that there are several stakeholders in this community that have been pursuing bike share programs or bike rental programs of their own. What the MPO has done is really brought those stakeholders together and brought those funds together to develop one large bike share program. So the stakeholders that have been in these discussions to date include UTEP, the Downtown Management District, and the City of El Paso. So what you have is, as backup, really breaks down the $2 million that have become available. They were approved at the last Metropolitan Planning Organization board meeting last Friday. So at this point, and in fact, I should mention, the MPO had come to the RMA and asked if we would be interested in really spearheading this project, as there are various jurisdictional entities that are involved in it. So we said, of course, we'd love to be a part of this. So what we're looking at now is developing agreements with whether it's TxDOT and the MPO to allocate those funds to the RMA. Once those funds become available to the RMA, then it would be a true RMA project, and we would actually be the project manager for it. And in that instance, what it really means is that we would develop a request for proposals, we would put that out on the street, and in time, we would hire the vendor that would manage this program. So that's really what we're looking at, and of course, over a longer period of time, we would have to identify operational funds and that sort of thing. So it's early in the stage, and but I felt that it's moving quickly enough with the MPO's action on Friday that you all should hear about it now. And hopefully the next time we meet, we'll have some agreements and some additional information. So that's really all I have for you at this point, subject to your questions, of course. If not, then the other item, 6B, is really just providing you all with the hard copies of the Zaragoza Direct Connector and Trans Mountain Northeast project quarterly updates. As you may recall, and I don't think I've been as good with this as I should have, but we committed to develop these quarterly reports on these two projects as we are involved in a portion of the financing for each of these projects. So we've developed these quarterly projects, and I intend from here forward to include them on our board meetings, obviously on a quarterly basis. So what you have are the first quarter reports for 2013. So subject to your questions on those, that's really all I have for you today.
Mr. Tess, are we distributing those other than just putting them on our website, or where are those newsletters going?
The newsletters were actually developed for this board, so they're really for you all.
Are we giving them any of the city representatives, or are we doing anything along those lines?
We have not, but we certainly could. And in fact, actually, I believe, if I remember correctly, I've shared some of the prior ones with Deputy City Manager Jane Shang. But I need to be a little bit more diligent about that, and I'll make sure that these get to her. But I can share them with anybody else you'd like, or at your direction.
When we post anything new to the website, there's nothing that goes out from the website that says there's something posted in this particular section. It's just a function of someone checking the website looking for new material. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right.
Well, having said that, though, whenever we do post something new, on our homepage we have a news box. So we'll add to the news box that something has been added. So it is there, but there's nothing that actually goes into anyone's email inbox. Correct. There's nothing like that. Other than periodically, if something is big, for example, an agenda is posted, an RFQ is issued, then we will send an email blast out for that.
Any questions for Mr. Tejas on the bike share program or the quarterly reports?
On the quarterly reports, are these projects on time?
Yes, sir. Actually, if I could have Pete Jacobs come up. I believe actually they're moving Zaragoza to finish earlier, right?
Right. Pete Jacobs, GEC. Right now, the intent is for TxDOT to do a change order for the Zaragoza to be finished before the holidays, and they're willing to pay for overtime to get it done. Nice. So that one will come in ahead of schedule, and then as far as Northeast, it's on schedule.
Northeast is scheduled for sometime in 2014?
Yes, sir. I want to say
July.
spring.
According to this,
Spring,
it's July.
summer of
Okay.
2014. But they're both on time. They're on schedule.
Any other questions for Mr. Jacobs while we have him on the hot seat?
I wonder if we're making distribution of these to the outlet, the news outlet, because this is real good information.
Well, the reason that we don't is that this really is not, these are not RMA projects. We provided a portion of the financing for it. However, the construction and all of the details are left to TxDOT. In other words, what we did is we provided financing to TxDOT so they could pursue the projects. Okay. So I'm somewhat hesitant to try to take some sort of ownership in this
Because
because
it's
we
not
have
our
no
projects.
control. If the schedules slide, if there are complaints about traffic, we can't do anything about
Right,
that.
right.
So
Then, I'm sorry, then my question should be to TxDOT. I wonder if they're, and if not, I would encourage them to submit it to the news media, because this is, again, good information for all.
and excellent projects.
Yeah.
Our role, as I understand it, basically is these are TRZ dollars through the SIB, and we're overseeing the use of those dollars, correct, Mr. Tejas, for the city?
That's exactly correct.
We have a certain amount of money allocated to both projects, and TxDOT has agreed that any change orders, they are picking up. So we stick to the budgets that we have originally stayed to, and we'll maintain those.
Thank you, Mr. Jacobs.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Tejas?
I just wanted to, I'm excited about the bike share program because I think it ties into our multimodal transportation solutions objectives, and I'm excited to see that, and hopefully other projects going forward.
I think it's a unique project. It's kind of the final mile, where you're taking either car transit or public transit, or and then you get into where you're going, and then this is designed to take you that last quarter mile, half mile, something a little further than walking distance. UTAP potentially here, potentially at another couple of points. Really has potential to be a great project, and I think would work well in the city where we've got such tremendous weather year-round. So,
It gives us range.
yes. Without any questions, is there a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? We are adjourned at 10:11 a.m. on May 8th, 2013.
Serious. Serious. Wow, I wasn't expecting that.